and they're like, we need more money. We need to make sure we can milk this like a cow. And so they're like, okay, so Grogu's not a Jedi because he's a Mandalorian. He's Din Djarin's little baby boy. Why is that so weird? Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm Luke This Monster, joined with, as always,
Sidequester. How's it going?
and this is episode 5 of Somewhere in Space. This may all be happening right now. If you guys did miss the last episode, we officially named the podcast. The yet to be named podcast has a name, so make sure to go check out that last episode if you didn't watch it. What are you doing with your life? That was a little harsh, but
They need to know.
they need to know. But yeah, thank you all so much for watching, and today we have a pretty interesting topic. But first, if you don't know, as always, we're joined with Sidequester. If you're not familiar with him, make sure to go check him out. His channel is linked in the description, and he also does have a book.
I do. I'm an author. That's what I tell my mom anyway. Adventures in Unemployment. It's the first part of 3. It's a fun little romp about a guy that tries to figure out his purpose in life, just like we all are trying to do. So if you feel so inclined, check it out. I appreciate it.
Available on both Amazon and the Kindle store. Check it out, link in the description. And so yeah, in this episode, we're just going to be talking about the brand new Mandalorian and Grogu movie that was actually just announced earlier this week. So really, really interesting topic here. Kind of caught me off guard. I knew Mando was going to be in like the Heir to the Empire movie, but he's getting his own movie, and that's pretty big Star Wars news, and we really wanted to cover it here on the channel. So let's go ahead and hop into that discussion now.
So first, where we are with Mandalorian, the show started. Din Djarin is a bounty hunter. He is sent to find a target. Ends up being Grogu. Instead of delivering the bounty, he takes Grogu and flees, and then the entire galaxy starts coming after him. Luke Skywalker saves the day, and Grogu goes off, and we don't see him again until the Book of Boba Fett.
And then in the Book of Boba Fett, Grogu's like, nah, I don't really want to be a Jedi. I'd much rather go back to Papa Din. And he somehow finds a way to get to Tatooine, because I don't even know how we knew he was on Tatooine. We're not going to talk about the logistics. Anyway, Grogu...
Script.
I mean, poorly plot convenience. That's the answer. But Grogu finds his way back to Din Djarin and makes conveniently sized plot movements in a show that's not even about him. So that's interesting. And then in season 3, it kind of moves away from Grogu and it focuses on Mando, Din Djarin, kind of finding his purpose as a Mandalorian. And, teaming up with Bo-Katan, fighting Moff Gideon and the Imperials, and kind of bringing together the Death Watch, This Is the Way helmet people with the Night Owl helmetless.
And Din Djarin took a bath at one point.
He did take a bath, yeah.
He saw a big monster in the water.
Yeah, what was the name of the monster? The
Mythosaur.
The Mythosaur, that's so cool. I was so hoping that he would ride the Mythosaur to defeat Moff Gideon. That would have been cool.
Yeah, that's what I wish they would have done.
Dude, imagine Din Djarin on top of the Mythosaur with the Darksaber. That is like the coolest thing you've ever seen in your life, and missed opportunity. Anyway,
that would have been a HasLab.
Don't even do that. Don't even get my hopes up.
So then the big battle at the end, we find out that Moff Gideon was holed up in the innards of Mandalore, that he has a cloning operation going with a bunch of brand new cool looking troops.
Force-sensitive Moff Gideon clones.
And he was using Grogu's DNA to create Force-sensitive clones and making an upgraded version of the Dark Troopers that we saw in Season 2, but with humans inside. By the end of it, they kill off Moff Gideon, maybe because he doesn't have a mustache. Maybe it was a clone. We don't really know.
Who knows?
Bo-Katan is leader of Mandalore again, and Din Djarin and Grogu go live on a farm. The end. Okay, so where do you want the movie to go?
Oof, a movie. I mean, it's one of those where, all of season 1, it was keeping Grogu safe and keeping him away from Moff Gideon. Mm-hmm. All of season 2 was bringing Grogu to find his purpose to become a Jedi. All of season 3 was Mando finding his purpose and becoming a Mandalorian and bringing back Mandalore. And I feel like at the end of every season now, they're just undoing everything the season did. Not undoing it, but they're like, hey, we need Grogu to meet up with the Jedi. But, and then, and then it's like, hey, we need Din Djarin to go and unite the Mandalorians. He's gonna leave though. He's not gonna stay there. and I think this there was a big difference. Like somewhere along the line, Mandalorian was supposed to end after season 2. It was supposed to, and they're like, we need more money. We need to make sure we can milk this like a cow. And so they're like, okay, so Grogu's not a Jedi because he's a Mandalorian. He's Din Djarin's little baby boy. I don't know why I said that so weird. But like, yeah, and so they're like, okay, so send him back with Grogu, and we're gonna completely ruin the Book of Boba Fett show in the process to make this story happen. And then all of season 3 just was kind of like pulled out of Dave Filoni's butt. Like I love Dave Filoni, but I feel like it wasn't supposed to happen, and so there was no story written. And so it's weird when you only have 8 episodes in the season, and yet 4 of them are filler, and yet the ending is still rushed. How can you have 4 filler episodes and the finale is still rushed?
Right.
A whole problem with something happened at Lucasfilm with the writing, and it's something that we can look past, and I'm sure that has something to do with Cara Dune's show getting canceled as well. But something happened, and they did their best to fix it, and Book of Boba Fett suffered because of it.
From my understanding, the plot elements for season 3 of Mandalorian, a lot of them were reworked stories that were going to be in Rangers of the Republic. Mm-hmm. And they got changed, obviously, because Gina Carano was let go, but they still had the story elements written. Mm-hmm. So I think a lot of those got plugged in. Going back to the Book of Boba Fett, also, from my understanding, they ended up creating a show, and when they started piecing it together, and with the stuff that they started chopping out of it, they realized they didn't have that much content. Mm-hmm. So they actually took the first 2 episodes of what would have been the season 3 of Mandalorian, the ones that had Din and going to see Luke and being confronted by Ahsoka, and then eventually him returning. Those were supposed to be elements in season 3. Since they didn't have enough content for the Book of Boba Fett, but they already had the scripts written for season 3, episode 1 and 2 of Mando, they plugged those into the Book of Boba Fett to flesh out what they were already shooting.
And that would have been such a good intro for season 3. That would have saved season 3. Mm-hmm. Would have saved it. Now, in my opinion, season 3 was just kind of mediocre. I think that's a discussion for a whole nother time. But
so that gets to one of the things that I wanted to bring up, and again, this is a criticism of the content that's being created now, is that this content is being created for Disney Plus, and when streaming services sort of tabulate their successes, it's done so in minutes watched. It's not done so in any sort of popularity or box office receipts, because they can't really do that. So they do it based on runtime. So with that in mind, it makes sense that having quantity of minutes over quality of minutes is how these things have come out. Like you were talking about, with things seeming like they're padded or having there be throwaway episodes, it makes absolute sense that they're like, okay, well, we're spending $250 million on this show, and we need to make sure that we have this many minutes of viewership. They end up having these full episodes that don't move the story along like they could. What I think we're going to start seeing with Mandalorian and Grogu being a film is that Disney realizes that if they spend the money on a solid 2 hour, 20-minute movie, that people will watch it over and over again.
Yeah.
The budget will be spent on more special effects, on having more extras on set when necessary, instead of trying to stretch things out and running into a situation where, like Riva storming the operation of people trying to flee the Empire, and when she comes knocking at the gate where Obi-Wan Kenobi is hiding on the other side, she's got like 10 stormtroopers behind her.
Yeah.
Against a Jedi, that doesn't make sense. And they're on the volume where they don't have enough, a whole lot of space, and they don't have enough money to have 100 extras standing behind them, or to spend it on making computer generated battalions of troops. They spent a little bit more money on Ahsoka, which, we'll talk about that. But you can see them starting to fix the things that they had issues with, and I think you'll see that moving forward. 2-hour movies, spending that same amount of money, but having it be a better quality runtime versus just extra minutes to fill the clock. So
yeah, well, it's interesting too, because like specifically with like seasons 1 and 2, I loved seasons 1 and 2 as a TV show. I don't think you could have condensed that into a 2-hour movie and still told the same story. I absolutely loved season 1 and 2 as a TV show, and that's how it should have stayed. But season 3, you could have easily cut to a 2-hour movie, and it would have been better than the 8-episode TV show. And that's something that they should have done, and they should have just released that part as the movie, the Mando movie, and then heck, maybe get the sequel down the line to it. But I don't know, at this point, you've explored Grogu, you've explored Mandalore. Where else do you bring the story? And that's what I'm kind of worried about, is that they're going to just pull some random problem out of nowhere to drive the story along, and it's just not going to be compelling. So
we have seen a couple of different important arcs. We had Din Djarin, who was abandoned as a child, and ends up in a situation where he becomes a father figure. The through line of the show is watching your child grow up. And he starts by being the reluctant surrogate father, eventually taking on this child as his own, having to let go and have the child come back, and teaching him what he learned as a Mandalorian. There's one more part of that story to tell, I think.
What's that?
I think that Gideon is not totally gone. Maybe they got the original, but there are clones of him out there. They probably have all the same anger and thirst for vengeance. And what I think should happen is the story is the conclusion of that. Don't throw in Thrawn. Don't throw in what will eventually become heir to the Empire. I think that should be saved for the movie because they also sort of need to figure out the logistics of a lot of those things, adapting the books.
Yeah.
But have it be early on in the story, Din Djarin and Grogu get attacked by somebody, and they find out that there is a version of Gideon that's still out there. Maybe it's the original, maybe it's not, but they will never be free until Gideon is gone.
Yeah.
And the story is that the final resolution of Moff Gideon trying to get a hold of Grogu. Maybe they go out and seek the help of Bo-Katan, some of the other Mandalorians to be able to get information that leads to where Gideon is, what happened after they won Mandalore back. You could tie in a hint of heir to the Empire with maybe there's another cloning facility. Maybe it's on Wayland. Ties the Bad Batch and also the heir to the Empire stories. You could go with those things. The big conclusion, I think, for this story is Din Djarin has to die. He has to sacrifice himself so that Grogu can live on. And Grogu's first words that we ever hear in any sort of media is the word father.
I'm Grogu Skywalker.
There was so much gravitas to him saying father, and you just immediately took it away by Grogu Skywalker.
That is my job as the comedy relief.
And I wouldn't have it any other way.
I like the idea of Moff Gideon being the bad guy, but I think that completely undermines season 3 of them killing him off and killing all the clones off. And I don't think that's the movie. I don't think that's the movie's fault, if that's the direction they want to go, but that's the poor writing of season 3's fault, because it's always Moff Gideon's alive, but he's dead, but he's not actually dead. Like we're gonna make his death very vague and mysterious. So if we want to bring him back, we can. And that's just a cheap writing, like cop out. Like it's one of those, like if you're gonna kill him, kill him. If you're not gonna kill him, don't kill him. But don't kind of kill him just to bring him back if you want to bring him back. I think that's a cop out. It's stupid, and they should have done better.
Luke. Somehow Moff Gideon returns.
Poe is gonna like swoop in with his jetpack, which he didn't know existed, and
they fly now.
It's one of those things. Like you could have easily shown a clip at the end, like a post-credit scene of a Moff Gideon clone, like somehow not being dead, or you could have shown Moff Gideon actually survived that. You could, or the real
mustache.
Yeah, you could have shown the real Moff Gideon that has a mustache, but you didn't show any of that because you wanted the cheap writing cop out. And so I think it's just a really cheap move to bring him in as the villain, and it would be a little disappointing. So
what would you do?
Well, I would have wrote season 3 better to where you make him the villain, because I think he's the perfect villain for the movie. I think what you said there is perfect. Grogu and Mando were not safe until Moff Gideon's gone, but you don't want to create that problem again for the movie. You want it to go straight from the TV show to the movie, And so I just don't like the cheap writing cop-outs like that, and I feel like that's it's something that I've seen. I feel like a lot in newer Disney projects is just like really, really heavy like plot convenience, and it's a little frustrating to see. So, and no, I don't think Mando has to die. I think that's a stupid decision if they make Mando die. For one, you only have Pedro Pascal do the voice now. He's not even under the suit, so you just have any other stunt double under there, and you're not paying him near as much as you would if Pedro Pascal was under the suit, like he was in season 1. Really, he wasn't really in season 1, but he was a lot more than he was in season 2 and season 3. But it's kind of like Chewbacca. You can put anybody under the Chewbacca suit, and it's still Chewbacca. You could put anyone under that Mando helmet, and it's still Mando.
But if you killed him off, then you could incorporate Din Djarin, who is Din Djarin's long lost son, who has to
That's
pick
so
up
stupid.
and
That is so dumb.
become
Mm.
an older brother to Grogu,
Do
who
you know?
is older than him.
Do you know what's a better ending? I think instead of killing off Grogu or killing off Mando,
What's that?
you have Mando retire. He's already taken off the helmet and he's kind of already renounced that his religion. There, I think you have him go and settle in with that one farm girl on that one planet from season 1. Bring Grogu with him and retire. I'd have a nice life. I have a happy ending for him. You don't need him to die. I can finally rest and watch the peaceful universe. I don't even know how the quote goes, but
So, are you excited for Mandalorian or Grogu, or are you just kind of?
oh, absolutely, I'm excited. It's something I don't say enough. The Mandalorian is like my favorite piece of like Star Wars media since the original trilogy. Season 1 of The Mandalorian might be up there with Empire Strikes Back for me. Like I know a lot of people think that season 2 is better than season 1, and they're just wrong. Season 1 is better than season 2. Like I love Luke Skywalker, I love Bo-Katan, I love Boba Fett, but they're just kind of cheap cameos. That the season 1 was simple, and it was good because it was simple. I love the cameos and incorporating it into the rest of the universe, but season 1 was peak. Season 2 was great too. Season 3 was not as good.
You're wrong about all of it because Andor's better.
I do love Andor. That's a discussion for another time too.
No,
Andor's good.
I agree. I agree with you that season 1 of The Mandalorian was solid. Like it was, it plays out like the plot of a movie. It has that structure. Season 2, in its own way, also does, but it plays out like a sequel. I mean, it kind of ends on a bittersweet moment with Grogu leaving. You understand that's where the character needs to go.
Yeah.
So it does have sort of that Empire Strikes Back, The Last Jedi, bittersweet kind of an end. But yes, The Mandalorian season 1 is like its own contained Star Wars: A New Hope structured story, beginning, middle, end, and we're good.
Yeah.
I'm excited for it. I'm cautiously excited. I would hope that they make it a self-contained story. Maybe have references to other properties, but not just have it be set up for the heir to the Empire. Like that, I think that's the worst thing that it could be, is like, oh no, we have to go find out what Thrawn is up to, and Hera and Ezra show up, and Carson Teva rope Din Djarin in to go find out what's going on with Thrawn, and Grogu comes along with them, and he pals around with Jason Syndulla, and like I could very much see them doing that because they think.
I think that's how Heir to the Empire is going to start, is with them trying to assemble their Mandoverse endgame moment. I think I would like little subtle hints, like give me some hints of Thrawn's back, and there's whispers throughout the galaxy, or different hints to it here and there, or there's a lost Jedi in another galaxy. You don't know if there'd be whispers and stuff, like, but just give little subtle things here and there. But I don't need a Boba Fett or a Bo-Katan or anything else in the story. I want it to be
are the key terms there, I think.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And I think that's something that Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau are really good at, but I think we've seen them not be as good with it in some of the recent pieces of Star Wars media.
So one of the things that really excites me about a Mandalorian and Grogu movie event is that big of a media presence means an entire toy line. And Black Series figures, yes, awesome. Probably smaller scale, vehicles and 3 3/4 inch stuff. But I guess what would you want to see in a movie tie-in toy line for Mandalorian and Grogu.
I don't even know if I necessarily care what's in the line. I just want a Force Friday. Give me a release date when all of this stuff is in stores so I can get up at 5 a.m. to Target or Walmart and buy everything right there on shelves. That's all I want from it.
Boxed figures.
That's just a carbonized remake.
Yeah, but I mean, just like kind of like the white box, but it's
like do the white box. Yeah, it's one of those, like, it's something I haven't been able to experience, and I'd love to. I want a Force Friday, and it's even if it was one of those where they just had regular release dates, it would kind of solve this problem for me. But they don't have regular release dates. They don't stock their items on store shelves consistently, and that is a whole nother debate for another time that I don't want to get into. But give me a Force Friday.
That'd be awesome. I would love to see. I mean, obviously, my preference is 6-inch scale figures. I would love to see a whole mess of Black Series stuff. I would love to see, as much as I love Mando in his current look, that what Glavis Ringworld figure is insane. It's amazing. I would love for them to give Mando a little bit of a different color palette. I would love, not just like the toy, but represented in the movie. Do something. Have him stand out a little bit.
Do you know what I would like?
What's that?
There needs to be some kind of plot convenience that, like, somebody has a tractor beam that only attracts Beskar armor or something, or something like really specific like that forces them to go back to the old number 94 white box Mando armor, because I love that armor so much more than Beskar armor.
Wait, that could actually be a really cool plot device. Mm-hmm. What if somebody steals his armor?
But when is he taking off his armor?
Well,
he's just in the shower, just like doo, 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 doo.
I mean, obviously he's got to bathe at some point, but
in the armor, he did it in the waters of Mandalore, in the mines of Mandalore.
So I think the rules were like in season 1 when he's eating, he's lifting up the helmet when nobody's there. They can remove their helmets when they're alone.
But if somebody took it, he's not alone now, is he?
But if
I'm just giving you a hard time.
No, if you thought he was alone, and then you could have your return to a less OP Mandalorian, because he wouldn't have the Beskar armor, so he would be susceptible to damage. That raises the threat level, which means Grogu has to step up and protect him more. And maybe he's not used to it because he's used to running in and getting shot a bunch of times and just having it be deflected. But now he can get hurt. And, dude, that's an amazing thing. So, that could be really cool.
Hear me out on this. This is one that came from the Mandalore arc in Star Wars Rebels, where the Empire was basically using some kind of gun. I don't remember, the specifics of it, because it might have been some kind of electricity field or something that it used the Beskar armor of all these Mandalorians and it just fries them, disintegrated. Anybody wearing Beskar is turned to ash. This was a really big plot point of Star Wars Rebels in that arc, and so have Thrawn or Moff Gideon start using that, and give me classic number 94 armor Mando. That'd be cool, because I'm assuming it's not Beskar. I think it's safe to say it gets all crushed by the Mudhorn there, so I think it's safe to assume it's not. Let us know down in the comments what you think this movie's going to be and what you hope for, and that's going to do it for this podcast episode. If you like some of this stuff that's more Star Wars related rather than just action figure related and just Black Series related, let me know down in the comments, because I really like these type of episodes and I'd love to do more if that's what you guys want to see. So let me know down in the comments, and that's going to do it for this episode of Somewhere in Space. This may all be happening right now. We'll see you all in the next one.
Bye.